Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The signal came from a dead world. That was the first thing that made the galaxy afraid. For 291 years, Earth had been listed as extinct. Not damaged. Not occupied. Not quarantined. Extinct. The records of the Galactic Assembly were clear. When the cosmic entity known as the Hollow Tide reached the Sol system, every long-range sensor showed the same result. The sun dimmed, the planets vanished behind a wave of black distortion, then there was nothing. No debris. No escape pods. No radio calls. Humanity's home had simply disappeared. The surviving human colonies never argued with the data. They mourned, they hardened, they moved on. But they never surrendered. That was what made them different. And now, almost 3 centuries later, a deep space listening post near the Perseus border caught something impossible. A transmission. Weak repeating human. This is Earth Command, we are still standing. If any human soul hears this, come home. The message looped every 7 minutes. The moment it was confirmed authentic human encoding, panic spread across the assembly worlds. Because the Hollow Tide had not only destroyed Earth, it had devoured 6 advanced civilizations before reaching Sol. Entire star clusters had gone dark. Species older than humanity had vanished without a trace. The Tide was not an army. It was not machines. It was not biological. It was hunger given shape. And Earth had been its final meal. At least that was what everyone believed. On Mars Colony Prime, Admiral Cassian Rourke stood in silence as the recording played again. He had been born 87 years after Earth's fall. To him, Earth was myth, story, memory carved in stone and sorrow. But that voice, it was steady. Not desperate. Not broken. This is Earth Command, we are still standing. Cassian felt something dangerous rise in his chest. Hope. Behind him, the Planetary Council argued loudly. It is a trap. It must be the Hollow Tide mimicking human signals. No species survives direct contact with it. Cassian finally spoke. Humans do. The chamber went quiet. He turned to face them, gray eyes calm but burning underneath. If there is even a 1% chance that Earth lives, we go. You would risk the fleet, a counselor demanded. Cassian's jaw tightened. We are the fleet because of Earth. Silence followed. The decision was made. Within 48 hours, the United Human Systems launched the largest fleet assembled since the colonial wars. Not for conquest. For home. The journey to Sol took 12 days through folded space corridors. Tension filled every ship. No one joked, no one celebrated. Every human on board understood one truth. If Earth truly survived, then the impossible had happened. And if the Hollow Tide still waited there, then this might be humanity's last stand. When the fleet exited fold space, chaos erupted across sensor stations. The Sol system was not gone. It was hidden. A massive sphere surrounded the inner planets. Not solid metal but layered energy grids and physical structures woven together in a shell nearly the size of Jupiter's orbit. A shield. A wall. Human in design, yet far beyond current technology. And at its center, the sun burned bright and steady. Earth's oceans reflected blue and white across long-range visuals. Cities glimmered faintly. Alive. Cassian felt his throat tighten. Open a channel, he ordered quietly. Before the comm officer could respond, an incoming signal overpowered their systems. Clear, strong, confident. Unidentified fleet, you are approaching restricted Sol defense territory. State, origin, and purpose. The voice was young. Human. Cassian stepped forward. This is Admiral Cassian Rourke of the United Human Systems. We received your distress call. There was a pause. Then the reply came softer. Distress call, Admiral, that message has been broadcasting for 291 years. Shock rippled through the bridge. Cassian swallowed. You mean you never stopped? No, the voice answered, we never stopped fighting. The fleet was granted controlled entry through a narrow opening in the massive shield. As they passed through, every system aboard every ship flickered under scanning beams. Defense platforms the size of small moons rotated silently around them. Weapons arrays tracked their movement with precision that made even veteran officers uneasy. Earth had not just survived. It had become something else. When Cashin's flagship descended toward the surface, he saw continents reshaped by old scars. Massive metallic structures rose from oceans. Energy towers pulsed across mountain ranges. Yet forests still stood. Clouds still drifted. Humanity had rebuilt its cradle into a fortress. Cashin stepped onto Earth soil for the first time in his life beneath a steel-gray sky. Waiting for him was a woman in a dark uniform marked with an unfamiliar insignia, a broken circle crossed by a blade. She saluted. "Admiral Rourke, I am High Commander Alara Vance, welcome to Earth." He returned the salute slowly. "How?" he asked. It was the only word that mattered. Alara studied him carefully before answering. "When the hollow tide entered our system, we realized traditional defense was impossible. It consumed energy, matter, radiation. Every weapon only fed it." Cashin had read the historical theories. All failed simulations ended the same way. "So what did you do?" Her eyes hardened. "We trapped it. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility carved into the planet's mantle, Cashin saw the truth. A containment field surrounded a shifting mass of darkness. It had no clear shape, no fixed boundaries. It moved like smoke underwater. Sensors screamed warnings even from a safe distance. "That is the hollow tide," Cashin whispered. "Yes. It looks smaller than reports." Alara nodded. "It is." Understanding dawned slowly. "You've been killing it. For nearly 3 centuries." She walked beside him along reinforced glass corridors. "When it attacked, we activated Project Aegis. We collapsed localized spacetime around the inner system, creating the shield you saw. It isolated the tide inside with us." Cashin stared at her. "You locked yourselves in with it." "Yes." "Why not evacuate?" Alara's expression did not change. "Because if it escaped Sol, nothing would stop it." The weight of that settled heavily. "You sacrificed Earth." "No," she corrected calmly, "we defended everyone." For generations, Earth had waged a silent war. They studied the tide. They learned its patterns. They discovered it adapted to energy, but struggled against chaotic biological resistance. Human neural unpredictability disrupted its structure. Human emotion, fear, anger. Hope created quantum noise it could not fully process. So Earth did something extraordinary. They turned humanity itself into the weapon. Every citizen underwent cognitive training. Emotional discipline became military doctrine. Collective neural networks amplified chaotic human thought into directed interference pulses. They did not attack with lasers. They attacked with will. Slowly, piece by piece, the hollow tide weakened. Cashin listened in awe. "You weaponized being human." Alara allowed the smallest hint of a smile. "Yes." But victory had not come. Alarms suddenly echoed through the underground chamber. Red lights flashed. Containment fields flickered. Cashin felt the air pressure change. Alara's expression darkened. "It's reacting to your fleet." "How?" "It senses more human minds." On the observation deck, the dark mass began to expand violently against its restraints. For the first time, Cashin felt true fear. "Can it break through?" "Not yet," Alara replied. "Not yet." Those words hung heavy. Hours later in Earth Command's strategic hall, leaders from Sol and the colonies met face to face. Holographic projections displayed data streams from the containment core. "The tide has been diminishing for decades," one Sol scientist explained, "but today it spiked 12% in activity." "Because of us?" a colonial officer asked. "Yes, it adapts, it learns." Cashin crossed his arms. "Then why call us here?" Alara met his gaze directly. "Because we believe it is preparing something." A silence fell. "What kind of something?" Cashin asked. She activated a display. Patterns appeared inside the dark mass, structured, repeating. "It is reorganizing," she said quietly, "not to consume." "Then for what?" Alara's voice lowered. "To imitate." The realization hit slowly. For centuries, the Hollow Tide had studied humanity up close. Their minds, their emotions, their resilience. And now it was changing shape. Taking form. Learning individuality. It wants to become us, Cashin whispered. Yes, Alara said, and if it succeeds, we will not be fighting a force of nature anymore. We will be fighting a thinking enemy. Above Earth, the massive shield shimmered as solar storms lashed against it. Across the planet, citizens paused in their daily routines as emergency broadcasts activated. The fleet from the colonies remained in orbit, uncertain whether they were reinforcements. Or reinforcements too late. Deep in containment, the Hollow Tide pulsed with unnatural rhythm. Within the darkness, shapes began to appear. Limbs. Faces. Imperfect, twisted. But undeniably human. For the first time in nearly 300 years, Earth's defenders did not feel certain. Cashin stood beside Alara, overlooking the chamber. If it escapes, he said quietly, the galaxy falls. Alara nodded. Then we do what humanity has always done. He glanced at her. And what is that? Her eyes reflected the writhing darkness below. We endure. Suddenly, the containment field cracked with a sound like thunder splitting the world. A fracture of pure black lightning shot upward, striking the reinforced glass above. Every system in the facility flickered. Emergency barriers slammed down. From within the darkness, a shape rose. Tall. Humanoid. Its surface shimmered like liquid night. And when it opened its mouth, it spoke. In perfect human language. We are still standing. The same words from the ancient signal. But now they were not a message of hope. They were a declaration. The Hollow Tide had learned. And it was ready to walk. The Hollow Tide stepped forward. It did not shatter the containment glass. It passed through it. The surface rippled like water as the dark figure moved into the chamber. Sirens screamed. Emergency shields activated in layers glowing bright blue and gold. The creature looked human. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. But its skin was a moving night sky, stars flickered beneath its surface, its eyes were deep voids without light. And its voice echoed with thousands of tones beneath it. We are still standing. The words shook the air. Soldiers raised weapons. Hold fire, Commander Lara Vance ordered. Admiral Cashin Rourke felt every instinct scream at him to attack, but something in the creature's posture stopped him. It was not charging. It was observing. Studying faces. Learning expressions. The Hollow Tide tilted its head slightly. You are afraid. Alara stepped forward slowly. Yes, she said clearly, we are. The creature blinked, the motion was slightly delayed like it was copying from memory. Fear increases internal instability, yet you remain. Cashin answered this time. That's what humans do. The dark figure turned its empty gaze toward him. We consumed civilizations older than your species. They surrendered when survival probability dropped below efficiency threshold. Its voice glitched faintly. You do not surrender. No, Alara said, we don't. The Hollow Tide's form flickered, its edges trembled. For 300 cycles you have resisted assimilation, you have adapted, you have weaponized irrationality. Cashin almost laughed despite the terror. That's one word for it. The chamber shook violently. Above ground, cracks spread across the planetary shield. The tide's core mass inside containment expanded like a storm cloud pushing against the sky. The humanoid shape in front of them was only part of it. The rest still churned below. We are evolving, the creature said. We will integrate your resilience, we will remove inefficiency, we will become superior. Alara's jaw tightened. You think becoming human makes you stronger? Yes. Cashin stepped closer, ignoring the guards shouting behind him. You don't understand humanity. The Hollow Tide paused. Explain. And that was the moment Cashin understood something important. It truly did not understand. It had studied emotion, it had measured behavior, it had mapped neural patterns. But it had never felt choice. Above Earth, the colonial fleet received emergency orders. All ships were to form a defensive grid around the shield, energy reserves rerouted, weapons hot but held in check. They could not fire blindly. If the shield collapsed completely, the hollow tide would spill into open space again. And this time it would think. On the surface, civilians evacuated major cities and moved toward reinforced shelters, not in panic, not in chaos. They had trained for this their entire lives. Children helped elders. Families moved together. There were tears. But there was no screaming. Humanity had lived beside this threat for generations. They were not strangers to fear. Back in the chamber, Cashin faced the creature that had ended empires. "You think strength is survival at any cost," he said. "You think efficiency is everything." "It is," the tide replied. "That's why you lose." The dark figure's surface rippled violently. "Clarify." Alara stepped beside Cashin. "You survive by consuming, by removing anything that threatens you. You erase weakness." "Yes. But humans don't erase weakness," she said softly. "We protect it." Confusion flickered in the creature's shifting face. Protection of weakness reduces survival probability. Sometimes, Cashin admitted, but it also builds something else. "What?" "Connection." The hollow tide went silent. Cashin continued. "When you attacked us, we didn't just fight because we wanted to live, we fought because we didn't want each other to die." The creature's form destabilized slightly. Emotional dependency creates vulnerability. "Yes," Alara said, "and it also creates strength." The tide's voice deepened. "Contradiction." "That's humanity," Cashin replied. "We are contradiction." Suddenly alarms reached a new pitch. Containment integrity dropped to 40%. The larger mass below surged upward, feeding energy into the humanoid projection. The creature grew taller. Its features sharpened. More defined. More human. "Assimilation nearly complete," it declared. "We will become you." Cashin looked at Alara. She nodded once. It was time. Across Earth, billions of neural transmitters activated. For centuries, humanity had trained their minds to create interference against the tide. But they had always used it as defense. Now they would do something different. They would share. Alara touched the communicator at her wrist. "Global network online," she said, "all citizens connected." Cashin felt it a second later. A hum in his skull. Not painful. Warm. Like standing in a crowd and feeling thousands of heartbeats at once. The hollow tide staggered. "What is this?" it demanded. Alara's voice carried calm strength. "This is humanity." The network did not project fear. It did not project rage. It projected memory. Images flooded the containment chamber. A mother holding a newborn child. A firefighter running into flames. Two soldiers dragging each other to safety. An old man planting a tree he would never see fully grown. Moments of sacrifice. Moments of love. Moments of pain chosen willingly for someone else. The hollow tide screamed. Its surface fractured with streaks of white light. Emotional overload, instability. Cashin stepped forward again, eyes burning. "You wanted to become human, this is what that means." The creature's form split between darkness and blinding brilliance. "We reject suffering, it is inefficient." "It's not about efficiency," Alara said gently, "it's about meaning." The tide's voice broke apart. "Meaning is non-quantifiable." "Exactly." Above the planet, the shield cracked further. But something unexpected happened. Instead of expanding outward, the hollow tide's core mass began collapsing inward. Its structure destabilized under the weight of billions of human experiences flooding into it. It had consumed civilizations before, but it had never tried to understand them. Now it was forced to. And humanity was too much. Too chaotic. Too contradictory. Too compassionate. The humanoid figure fell to its knees. "We cannot reconcile paradox," it gasped. Cashin knelt in front of it. "You don't have to." The creature's dark eyes flickered with faint starlight. "What is survival without domination?" Alara answered softly. "Coexistence." The word echoed through the chamber. Through the global network. Through every connected mind. The hollow tide trembled violently. For the first time since it entered the galaxy, it hesitated. And in that hesitation, it changed. The massive core below shrank rapidly, compressing into a sphere no larger than a transport shuttle. The shield stabilized. Alarms quieted. The humanoid projection dissolved into shimmering dust that rained harmlessly to the floor. In the containment chamber, floating where the storm once raged, was a small orb of swirling light and shadow. Contained. Stable. Silent. Weeks passed. The hollow tide no longer pushed against its prison. It no longer expanded. It simply existed. Studying. Watching. Learning differently now. Earth's scientists monitored it carefully. The global neural network remained ready. But there were no more attacks. No more attempts to escape. Admiral Cashin prepared to return to the colonies. Before leaving, he stood with Alara overlooking the ocean at sunset. Real ocean. Real wind. Real Earth. It's not dead, he said quietly. No, Alara agreed, it never will be. Are we safe? She considered that. Safe isn't something humanity ever really is. He smiled faintly. That's true. They watched the waves crash against reinforced coastal barriers. You changed it, Cashin said. No, Alara replied, we showed it something new. Months later, the Galactic Assembly received a transmission. Live visual. Earth's oceans in the background. Human leaders standing united. Cashin spoke clearly to the gathered alien delegates. 3 centuries ago you believed Earth was destroyed. It was not. We chose to stand between you and extinction. Murmurs spread through alien chambers. He continued. The hollow tide is contained, not through annihilation, not through superior firepower. Alara stepped into view. But through resilience. Cashin nodded. Humanity does not win because we are the strongest. We win because we endure what others cannot. Alara finished the message. We do not kneel to darkness, we adapt to it. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, species that once feared humanity began to understand them. Not as reckless. Not as primitive. But as unbreakable. Back in the containment chamber, the small orb pulsed faintly. Inside it something shifted. Not hunger. Not aggression. Curiosity. Humanity had done the impossible. They had not destroyed the darkness. They had taught it restraint. An Earth once thought lost stood stronger than ever. Scarred. Changed. But alive. As the sun set over the blue planet, children played under the watchful hum of defense towers. Ships came and went from orbit peacefully. And deep beneath the surface, the last great enemy of the galaxy remained quiet. Not defeated. But transformed. Because humanity had done what no empire, no ancient civilization, no advanced species had ever managed. They faced extinction. And refused to become it. They did not kneel. They did not surrender. They endured. And in enduring, they changed the fate of the stars. End of story.